Hello and welcome back to another episode of Hytale. And as you can see, we are currently not at home in the village. We are collecting resources for our next build. And I am going with a different tone. We're going to use some different materials for this build. I'm going to use more of a warm palette and a lot of sandstone. So we're gathering all this up, and when I am finished, I will meet you back in the village so we can talk more about what we've got in store for today. Alright, we are back here in the village, and I've got a bunch of the sandstone and supplies here and a couple of chests for our build. And our new build's going to go right next to our apothecary here. And it's kind of two buildings, but I would say it's one build. So let's get started on that. I have a few more things I need to grab. We need some apple wood and some golden wood for our trimmings. So let's head back here to our little tree farm that we have behind our lumber mill, and we're doing a bunch of the new trees because we need the apple wood and the golden wood, like I said. And I am so glad for these saplings now because I get actual apple wood, which before we didn't have that. It was just you wouldn't get anything if you cut down the trees. And I really like the look of the wood. It's very like goldenish color, at least the logs are. And I think if you turn it into planks and things, it's just a hardwood. But the logs are a nice color. And then we have a infinitely easier way to get golden wood now because these big amber trees that are next to me are a golden wood. And though the logs are a different color and they're a little too much for me for this, it's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the golden one. So these will be perfect to give us what we need because that is going to be our roofing. I actually really like these trees. I love actually all the big trees in Hytale. They make me want to build a tree house, and that's definitely something I think will be in the future. Maybe we can use these golden trees and make a new biome with them and make like a treehouse civilization or something of that nature in it. I think that would be really cool. Kind of like the Quebecs, but not. I would like actual houses and things and bigger trees. Maybe we could even do a custom tree with this wood. But I mean, the base game trees are pretty good and they're big. So we'll see. I have, especially when I go down into the dino area, I have a very strong desire to make a tree house. So I think we're getting to about where we need to be. I'm gathering up the last of these apple trees. I had to do a little AFK because unfortunately with these trees you do only get about 4 or 5 logs per tree, which kind of stinks, especially since they can be very expensive in the way of essence. But, you know, it is what it is. You need a big farm so you can have lots of essence and you can grow lots of these trees. Alright, I kind of just want to look at this area here, like next to our apothecary here. How close do I want this building to be, and how do I want it to lay out? Because what I'm picturing in my head, it's going to be kind of different, and it's at an angle, the way it goes around the village. So although I'm not doing an angled build, I do kind of have to think about how I want to lay this out. So I think I have an idea. Let's grab some of our blocks here and let's get something laid down. Now that we have our basic outline done, we need to build up these walls. This is going to be the lower half of our buildings. Well, some of the buildings, they won't be 2 stories, but, or rather some parts of the building. But you're going to have to bear with me. In my opinion, I know this is not the best color or the best base, but we are going to texture it and we're going to put some other tones on it, but we do want more of a muted warm color with this. And for me, I normally lean towards cool colors, so this is hard for me to do sometimes, to do more of a warm palette. But it will come out and it's going to fit the theme of this building a lot better to do the warm colors, in my opinion, than would be to do a white or a blue. All right, so we've got our base done, and I know it's looks like a giant brown box. It's the ugly stage. Bear with me. It will get better, I promise. At least I think so. Anyway, so now that we are here, we can start on the second story with our apple wood. And I am going to use the apple as a trim around the building, like I'm doing right now. And to add a little contrast, because we don't want it to all be very neutral warm tones, we are going to add in some birch wood for the walls. And then we will add the golden wood for the roof and the accents around the house and the details. So that's our base for our second story. I do want to go ahead and put in the roof because not all of the building is going to be 2 stories. So our lower story that will have roofs, I'm going to add that now with our golden wood. Just so I know where the peaks of the roofs are going to come to, and it'll be easier to build around that if we put that in now. We're going for a super simple roof this time, not going to do any crazy peaks like we did the last time because, well, I guess I can say it now. This build is a barracks or an outpost because it is a small village, so it's not really a big military presence, but it is going to be a few soldiers and an officer. But it is the barracks of our town, so we don't need any special roofing because this is a small village, not like an Imperial Guard or something. With our roof on, let's get our second story built up. Again, we're going to use the apple wood for our trimmings for our outline of our house, or our second story of our house. And like I said before, we're going to come back in with the light wood, the birch, which is, it is white, but it's like a offish white. It's not like a bright white, like a marble or a chalk. I know I want to add in some of this apple wood to break up the mass white wall and for like the framing of where our windows might go. So we're just adding that in here before we put in our walls. And I'll probably do the same thing on the other side. Yeah, I kind of like that spacing. That works. Just copy that over here. And then we can go grab our birch. All right, now we can fill in these walls. See this? I feel like the tones in this birch or the not softwood, light wood is it has like some browner tones to it. So it's not a very bright white. It's much more softer. and more, it really could be with a lot of things. It's kind of a neutral, which is nice. It's not super bright. It doesn't contrast too much, this is much more of what we're going for because this is barracks. It needs to be more of like muted, more of a military feel. And I think I'm going to throw in some of these bracings down here at the bottom while I have the birch in my inventory. Get this bit out of the way. Then we will work on getting the roof on our building. Okay, now we've got our second story on our first building done. So I think we can move on to the second building, which is almost going to be exactly the same with one small thing different, which I will talk about later. So let's get this built out really quick. All right, so I was planting some more trees and this happened. So the sapling in its second stage, I guess, it kind of glitches. So I wonder if I break the sapling, will I get the wood? Can I repeat this? Can we do this again? I think we got to try. Let's see if we can get the same glitch with another sapling. Turns out we can. So all of these, and I want to say maybe it's the second stage, are getting a sapling and I get the wood. Really odd. And it seemed to me like if I don't replant the sapling, then it won't grow. It'll just stay a sapling, which could also be another glitch to have like a planted sapling without blocking it from growth with like a stone or something. I don't know, just an idea, but kind of cool because I get the wood and the sapling, but also these trees make massive amounts of wood when they're full grown. So I don't know if it's worth it, but it's still kind of neat. Just an idea. Maybe if you're short on essence and you need the birch wood, or not birch wood. I think this is like gumbo. I forget what this tree's called. Anyway, I thought I'd share it with you because I thought it was pretty neat, and it is just one of the many things that you find in an early release game. And as a matter of fact, you find it in many games. Glitches and taking advantage of glitches is half the reason why some games are so much fun. So that's a pretty cool trick. I wish it would happen with the apple tree because they are such a pain because they cost 100 essence per tree, and you only get about 5 logs per tree, and they take like 5 days to grow. So building out of apple is basically punishment. So they do grow if you leave them, as it turns out, and if you don't replant them, they won't grow. So just a heads up, something neat that you can do if you're low on essence. All right, more resources acquired. We can get the rest of this building finished, and then we can talk about a little more about what we are going to do for the outside decorations, because that's the part I'm excited about. So I'll see you in a bit. All right, and with that, both shells of the buildings are basically done. Now it's my favorite part, adding the details and bringing this build to life. First, let's address all our doorways. You'll notice that I did not put the floor all the way to the ground. So we have some nice stairs up to our doorways and adding in these overhangings around each one of them. I'm really wanting to do this rugged looking door that I found. I don't want to use the simple door. I like these quartz doors, which I wouldn't think they're quartz, but they are. And I think they fit in very well with this build. And then there is a platform that I can only get from these guys. So I can't craft it, so I have to strategically steal it from them. Because I don't know if they still do it, but they used to get mad at you if you used your axe or even if you got your axe out. So I'm going to try to not get poked with the spear and steal some of their little platforms if I can find them. That's them. That's them up there. Okay. Yeah. Oh, well, of course. You're here. Yeah, see, they don't like it when I get my axe out. Yeah, I'm gonna steal these. Don't come for me. Don't come for me, Cubex. I will try not to. Oh. Whoops. Sorry, I didn't mean to destroy your tree. Please don't stab me. All right, I think it's time to leave. We got a few of what we needed anyways. I didn't need too many. I also didn't need to take out half their tree. Whoops. So I wanted the platform for this overhang up here, which is kind of like a little lookout, little balcony area because this is like the residential part of our barracks. So this is like where the soldiers would sleep. So I wanted to give them a nice little view out to the village. And that should do it. I think this should look pretty good. Yeah, I like that. That looks good. Easy. And I want to do a little, like, garden area, I guess, here. Nothing too crazy. And we need to get in some pathways here for our barracks and our soldiers. So we need some, I think stone would look good. Maybe mix in some cobble. Yeah, that's not too bad. Trying to stay in our warm tones here to match the rest of our build. And I think I'm going to make this area a courtyard. And back here, maybe a little training area. So let's get this all filled in. All right, I want to add in some accents to our windows, a little roof, and I really want to do like a little like pergola kind of over here, somewhere where they could come out and sit if they wanted to and not be like blasted by the elements. And we put in some of these hanging leaves. We grew some of these trees the last video, and I love the way they hang down. It just looks so cool. It really makes for a nice draping leaf look. And we're gonna mix in some of these other, I forget what these are. Fig leaves, I wanna say. We need a stair here. Now I'm filling in some of this terrain because our building was getting awfully close, and we're gonna have to build here anyway. Ow! What the heck? Oh, let's replace that. Didn't mean to do. Wait, what is that? No. Hey, it's one of these guys. I've been to these before. They're the guy that lives under. I don't even know what you call those guys. Okay, let's check this out. I mean, it's not... They usually don't have too much, but I'm definitely probably going to steal these bookshelves because I can't craft them. We're definitely going to use them in a build somewhere. Sorry, dude. Stealing your stuff. What kind of flower? Ooh, I like this. I don't think I've seen that flower before. Looks like a Zone 4 flower. I haven't seen our guy yet. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Hey, buddy. I'm not stealing anything, I promise. You don't be mad at me. I wonder if they're ever going to make them do anything, and why won't he look at me? Anyway, I think some of these places have secrets, like a secret room. Ooh, right here. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, see? They have a little secret room. Ooh, more bookshelves. I don't think there's like I said, they don't really have anything like super spectacular. Not for somebody who's been in the game for a while. Beginner, if you found this? Yeah, kind of cool. Some cool decorating things that you can't get, like the bookshelves. But other than that, it's just kind of neat to find it. Nothing too special down here. And I cannot believe this was literally at our back door, and I didn't know this was here. What the heck? We should definitely like decorate this and make it look more like aesthetic and have a pathway to our village. I think that would be really cool. Anyway, mysterious guy living under the ground aside, I want to come and work on the upstairs because I do actually want to add another like walkout balcony right here. I know we have the one, but it has like no guardrails or anything. It doesn't really feel like you could actually walk out there. So I kind of want to have one of those over on this side. Plus, it just kind of breaks up this wall and gives it a little more interest. So we're adding in some railings with our golden wood fence and some roof. And let's add in a couple birch stairs to give this a little more of a shape. I like this. See, you can walk out there. All right, what's this side look like? Oh, yeah. See, I think it's coming together. There's a few more things I want to do, but that side looks pretty good, I think. I'm really loving the pergola. That's probably my favorite part. Okay, now we need to work on our courtyard. So again, another spot I want to kind of put some seating outside because this is going to be like the in-between area, somewhere like during the day where the guards can sit and can relax outside or eat outside. So we'll have like a table or a bench here. And yeah, so let us put this together and I will bring you back when I'm done. All right, we got our courtyard done. I put up some cloths for some overhangings, and then I just went ahead and did our training area as well. So that's pretty much done for our outside. Now we need to work on the inside. So let's get to working on that. I think this area I want to be like just an entranceway, maybe some chairs, maybe some lighting, maybe a table, but nothing too crazy. Maybe a little plant here in the corner, and maybe a little chest with a light. Yeah, that'll work. Up here, we have to have some beds for our soldiers, and this is going to be super basic. Think military, think don't need a lot of extra things up there. So that's that. And then I think I'm going to work on the rest of this, and I will meet back with you when I'm done for our tour. See you then. All right, guys, I think we're about done with our build. I did all the interior work and some more detailing outside, and I love this build. I think it came out really good. Even though it wasn't really a color palette I'm used to building in, I did think it came out great. So let's go check everything out. You know, we added in some storage on the outside with some overgrowing vines and things and some bushes. And then you saw the courtyard briefly, but here's another look at it. We added some more bushes, and we've got these cloths overhanging, which I really love that detail, and some benches. And then this is our little training yard. I would love to be able to have like some weapons out here, which is why I put the armor bench here, but it'd be really neat to have like a lying bow or a sword or something. And then this is the officer's bedroom, which you did not see. And yeah, it's pretty basic, but you know, it feels a little bit more fancy than the other guys. So we got a writing desk here and a bureau and all that. And then this is the entry area, or like common area with some seating and a table. And I found this really cool map in zone 4. It has like a X for a treasure, I guess. But I thought that was a neat little detail that you would find in a barracks. And yeah, you saw this up here. Didn't really do too much up there. One part you didn't see either is the mess hall or the common eating area. And I love the little details in here. You know, we just have some shelves, but in here we have some eating tables. We've got a bucket of milk and a cutting board and meat and salt and all the food, and in the fire we have some cook pots. And yeah, it just feels very warm and welcoming, and somewhere where there would be a lot of eating and laughter amongst the officer and his soldiers. And then up here, there's nothing. The second floor, I would really like to leave open for maybe if we could get some way to display armor or display weapons in the future. Maybe we could use it for that. You know, I would love to see that as something to come into the game, and we could maybe put up storage up there. But other than that, that's about it for this build. I think it came out great. I love it. Let me know if you like it. You got any suggestions or comments about it, let me know. And, you know, next time I really am dying to work on the market here. The market needs to be done. It needs to be done. I am dying to do it for whatever reason. I think because of the small details, that's one of my favorite things to do. And I also think that we need to do some other buildings. We really need like a place for maybe where the people worship or a tannery, other shops, if you have any shops that you think we should have. And then just some like residential places, I think also need to go in this village. I don't want it to be too crazy, but I do think it needs a few more things. And that's about it for today. And I hope that you all had a wonderful time. I'm glad that you came along with me, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.